So we have a bit of an update on the whole New York Times story with the race in California 25. Cenk Uygur has absolutely changed the game, and they're doing Oppo research on him, trying to smear him. And the New York Times had smeared him over a David Duke interview that they did. They included a portion in which the New York Times article essentially says that, he says in the interview responding to David Duke that he's certainly not a racist. So obviously it was a sarcastic comment, and he spent the entire interview basically lambasting him for being both an anti-Semite and a racist, both of those, mind you. And they didn't include that in there, and they made it really, really messed up, and that's libel. That's actually something that I think you could sue for. I think it'd be under grounds of suing, and it's pretty remarkable just how bad of a smear that was. Now, they have now issued a correction, okay, because there was a lot of public outcry. This correction, an earlier version of this article referred imprecisely to a remark by Cenk Uygur, a radio host running for Congress, when David Duke appeared on his show and denied being a racist. Mr. Uygur was sarcastic when he replied, "No, of course not." So here's more slighting, a radio host. Cenk is not a radio host. They're not on the radio. The Young Turks is not on the radio. And they do this all the time. Legacy media D-bags do this all the time. They undercut new media because that's their competition. The New York Times and Legacy Media are in a competition with new media. So they're not going to give them their props. This reminds me of when David Ackman went on Fox News and they called him like a Boston radio host, which is not what he is at all. He's actually on some radio stations. These guys, I don't think TYT's on any radio stations at all. So it doesn't make any sense. I think, is at least on some radio stations. But, he's a show, right? Cenk Uygur has founded the biggest online news show. You know what I'm saying? That's very significant. So just call him a radio host is incredibly dismissive, and they do it on purpose as a slight to new media because it's a threat to them. So the idea that, they're really trying to correct this, of course they're not. But I guess at least they did something. I did see, if you haven't seen Anna Kasparian's breakdown of the whole situation, I recommend you go watch it. She was incredibly passionate, incredibly angry. It was definitely a good watch. And at least they decided to say something, or at least to do some sort of correction. But to be quite honest with you, it was a pretty malicious error that they made, and it was on purpose.